If you don't have the exact model, it's okay, because most coffee machines have similar internals. As you saw in the video, this coffee machine is leaking coffee from around these tubings here, from behind the casing here and underneath the coffee machine. This usually happens when you get, over periods of time, a built up amount of coffee grindings in here that block up this. This is a canister that holds coffee and just fills up and pours over. And this could even happen in here, that this gets so much gunk of milk stuck in it that it starts to spray out water through the other side and through the bottom of here. So I'm going to show you how to fix this. Now, for a simple solution on how to fix this is using some coffee cleaner made out of alkaline salts. This one here, you can find it in the link below. It will unblock this. You can help this by using a little Phillips screwdriver or a flathead and poking up through there. That will help free this up, and even blowing through it with a hose like this. This will help clean up that and this section here. You can also unscrew this here and clean out that, and that will stop that from overflowing. Now, the proper way of fixing this is actually pulling the unit apart and cleaning it out properly. So we'll get started. Now, one of the easiest ways to pull this all the covers off is these 4 screws at the back here. Now, they don't actually look like screws, but they are. You need a special tool to take them off, but I've left that at home today, so I'm going to use a pair of pliers. If you grab onto the screw quite tightly, making sure you don't wreck the casing of the coffee machine, and turning it, it frees up, and then you can just do it with a pair of pliers or just freehand. Now, I'm going to be talking about a few other things along the way, so for people that just want to fix their leaks, you might want to be a little bit patient, because I want to explain a few other things that go wrong with these coffee machines. I've already undone the other 4 screws at the back, so spin it around. You can take out the water holder, and if you want to replace these little flaps because they're broken, people in the office here are a bit reckless and break them. You don't need to empty the coffee out. You only need to empty the coffee out for how to fix the grinder. The grinders, the brushes tend to wear out on them, and you can still see that, guys. There's 2 little screws down here that you must remove. It's always good to have a little plastic container to put all your screws in so you don't lose everything. Obviously, have the coffee machine unplugged. Okay, now that the screws are all undone at the back, there's 2 more here. And it is a special, they don't use Phillips designed screwdrivers, the Germans, or wherever these coffee machines are. Most European things come with, they don't use Phillips or flatheads, they use these T15s and T16s, and it's one of these. Anyways, I like them. Seems like you always got a better grip on things. Anyways, there's 2 of those screws that you have to remove from just up here on these panels. And after that, you can slide off the top cover carefully, not making sure you don't break any things. Now, if you want to replace these plastic bits, they're much easier to do it now. You can see the clips very easily and unclip it, as you can see, and replace them and put new ones on without wrecking them. They're about $15. A link in the description below will give you enough parts. I don't make any money off that website. It's just where I get my parts from. It's the easiest place to get my parts from. And it might not be the cheapest, because I haven't really looked around too much, but they are fairly cheap. Now, these side panels you don't need to take off, but I'm going to take them off now, just so you can see the inside of these coffee machines. Now, if you don't need to take them off, don't, because they're a little tricky putting them back on. Well, the first time you do it, you get used to it after a while. So you don't really need to ever touch this side. It's all circuitry and boards will never get into that stuff. As long as you don't get it wet, nothing will go wrong. This side, on the other hand, with the coffee bean grinds and everything, you do fairly need to open up this panel a lot. You do get a lot of things wrecking on this side, including other water leaks. Try and zoom in a little bit for you guys. Please hold on, I'll get into fixing the front water leak in a second. Show you a little bit of background. You could be leaking from here. I have replaced this before. They tend to go, so I got a spare one. They end up rusting up and leaking around the seal there. What you want to do is, there's a couple things. This here tends to block up a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to undo this and just clean the inside of this because it tends to block up. Now, what you want to do is there's a little clip there. We need this bit out, and that's a little tricky. Bigger clip that just squeezes in. Okay. That unscrews here. It's usually a lot more easier to take out. I made it look a little bit difficult. Be careful you don't break the plastic around here at the front. If you do, it's going to be a little bit loose. These seals here tend to leak as well. So what will happen is you put the pressure on, it'll start leaking from the inside. Water, you get water from underneath. The reason why it happens fairly regularly, as you can see, this one's half blocked up, so it's always good to pull this out and clean it out while you got the coffee machine out in the first place, or open up in the first place. So I'm going to clean that up, and especially this end bit here, clean that all out. The little tiny brush, hot water, that's it. Alright, now get onto the front cover. Take you a while to figure out how to actually open this front cover up, like the sides wiggle, but nothing else really seems to free up too much. So there is a clip up the top piece here that you have to lift up and unclip. Go slowly, you don't want to break anything. And that's off. I do get scared when I deal with plastic, but I've never broken anything on this yet. 2 screws down the bottom that I said to remove before are now freed up. 2 screws in here. Once again, it's a T15. One, two. Now I'm expecting this to be filled with gunk. Slide this up. Slide it down a fraction. Then you should be able to pull it out ways. Yeah, slide it down to there. Should be able to slide out. You still got some wiring connected to it. I wouldn't bother in undoing the wiring. Just pull the cover out a little bit so you can undo this with ease. Like that. This little magnet there. little metals. Now without even looking, there's gunk in there. Yeah, there's a lot of gunk. This is really not hygienic either. There is probably 50 to 60 times more of that gunk in there. It looks disgusting. It's probably got bits of mold growing in it. It's a good reason why you should pull apart your coffee machine and clean it out properly instead of using a coffee cleaner. A coffee cleaner does very well, and if you're not experienced enough to do this or don't feel confident enough, it's best if you just use a coffee cleaner. But use it, because look at that, that's disgusting. You're drinking out of that. That'll just wreck the taste of your coffee or make it taste better. I don't know, I've never had a coffee in my life. Alright, so clean that out, clean this out, and you're done. For more information on these coffee machines, I do have some other videos. Like I said, these grinders here tend to go. All you need to do is undo this section and your coffee grinder comes out from top out. You can't take it out through the bottom. The brushes go on them, so new grinder probably set you up for another 60 bucks. I use some bigger brushes in there, and from an old drill that I found, and I just ground them up and stuck it in there. It's actually got a lot more oomph in the grinder. My parents are actually saying that the coffee is much nicer. I don't know if they're saying that because they're trying to make me feel good that I actually fixed it for them and they're happy. Anyways, now there's these little screws on top to get to this grinder. If you hang with me a bit, I'll put the coffee machine back together, but if you just want more information, I'll keep going and blabbering on. These little screws here, they're on top, and do not try and force this in to turn it if there's coffee in there. If you round these screws, it's just a lot of headache for you later on. So just use a small little flathead or Phillips and clean them out like that, and then put the Phillips in there. It'll make your day a lot more easier. I can go ahead and pull this all apart, but I've got other videos to do that. And that does that. Now, some more important information. A lot of manufacturers tell you to actually use a food grade grease on this, which I do, and I have done in the past. A few coffee makers say do not use it. It wrecks the flavour of the coffee. You can smell it in the coffee. Apparently my parents also said the same thing to me this time around. Do not use the grease on it because it didn't smell correctly for the first few months. So as I can see now, there is no grease on it whatsoever. This shaft here will wear out slightly more quicker, but I'm not going to use any grease on it because coffee is the most important thing for coffee lovers.